Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to 10 Years in the Making. It's about time we talked about the Avengers Infinity War. I'm Paul, and with me is Hank.
Hello. I mean, it's about some time somebody talked about the Avengers.
It's about
Somebody.
It's about time somebody talked about it properly, because people on the internet are dumb. That's unnecessarily rude. But also, okay, so I'm going to put some caveats on this. The reason I wanted to do this so bad, I wanted to talk about this movie in a more official capacity at some point, but kind of didn't, get my, ass in gear until I listened to a podcast of a bunch of normies talking about it and being like, oh, this is fucking terrible, and we can do better than that, so we should. That being said, I do not listen to, actual comic book and comic book related podcasts, so I'm sure it's been talked about way better somewhere else, and that's fine. Mm-hmm. But I haven't listened to that conversation. So this might be, and from my side, a little uninformed in some spots as well, because there are a couple of the movies of the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, that I have not seen. And, yeah, maybe there's some gaps in my knowledge that are filled in there. But,
Yeah.
You know what? I'm going to start... Okay, so Avengers Infinity War.
Yes.
It's the culmination of, 10 years of everybody watching these Marvel movies, learning who these characters are, liking, disliking them, whatever, along the way. They all get some screen time or something to do, at least, in this big, epic event movie that came out recently. And we learn more about the big bad, basically, as well during this movie. So it's very packed, a lot of stuff to go through. And if you haven't been introduced to these characters, it's probably a poor time to go to this movie specifically. At all.
Yeah, no. The kind of the point of the movie is it gets to assume you know who these characters are, and it can just go and tell this crazy story.
Right.
Throwing different characters together. Characters who really don't have history with each other in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
And that's what comic book events are in a lot of cases. The cool thing about this movie, a big part of it to me, is just that it captures the feel of what comic book events are, in that they're dumb, they're over the top, and they're just throwing all these characters together in little groups and to tell different parts of the story.
Totally. Too much stuff happening.
It's kind of like a collection of a lot of 25-minute short action scenes.
It is, yeah.
Of short movies, but just all put together and kind of lined up in a row.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So that being said, if you don't know who these characters are, I could definitely see you not getting any enjoyment, or very little enjoyment, probably, out of
Totally
what's going on, because it does have that pre-baked assumption that you know what's going on, who these people are, and maybe either want to see them succeed or not succeed, whatever your call is. That part doesn't matter, because they will either succeed or not succeed depending on who you're rooting for.
I will say, I would probably have liked this movie going into it blind, having never seen any of the movies, because that's how I go into a lot of comic books, is just I like to dive in and figure that stuff out later. But that's why I'm a comic book fan. That's why it was a thing I was able to get into in the first place, is because I could always just dive in wherever and then sift my way through it.
Sure.
So that is a way to do it. I just don't think it's the way most people like enjoying that stuff, and it has been building for a long time.
Yeah.
But you can always just start from Iron Man and build through it, or start from some other movie.
Yeah.
All you need is an anchor with a lot of this stuff. It's I like this movie. Maybe I'll like the movie with that character's in it too, and then I'll figure out the other stuff later.
Yeah, and through their cameos throughout the different movies, you could ostensibly just start anywhere before this movie in that from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, between Iron Man 1 to now, just pick a random movie,
Yeah.
and then like watch movies based on who you thought was neat that you saw appear in that movie at some point, and then just like you could web through them that way if you wanted to. And like I think that's all really cool, but the thing I like about this movie is this idea that like you should know what we're doing and we're just going to do the thing now. It's the same reason I like Spider-Man Homecoming, because we don't have to go through the origin. It just Spider-Man Homecoming is like a comic book where you pick it up, there's an arc, and then it ends, and then you're like, I got to go on a little adventure with Spider-Man. This is like, I've been reading comics for a couple of years now. I get to see all my favorite heroes just like jump in together into this big thing. So if you are a comic book fan and you know who these people are, you could just go, like, if you haven't seen any of the movies, but you know who these people are, you could totally go in and it's totally fine. Like, you know you might not know what to expect unless you've, actually, you know what? Even if you know what to expect from the comics and how the, like, Infinity Gauntlet arc goes, it'll be a little surprising.
Yeah, it's not, again, these movies generally aren't ever straight adaptations of what they're doing on. They're loosely inspired by specific stories generally.
For sure.
In particular, this Marvel cinematic ones.
For sure. Okay. So, without further ado, the movie, like, it's so hard to talk about because so much shit happens.
So much stuff happens. It's just stuff happening for
like it's
2 hours.
It straight up starts off with like Thor getting the shit kicked out of him, and then his brother being killed in front of his eyes, and the Hulk getting like beat in a 1v1 punching match. Essentially,
yeah.
It's
a good way to establish your villain. Just have him kick the shit out of the Hulk,
out of the big dude right away.
Yeah,
and to like
just take out the biggest dude in the room.
Yeah, and to like fuck up a god and kill his brother. It's pretty.
And kill like the best powerful villain that the series has had. Like,
yeah. No, it's actually crazy. This is the first like 10 minutes of this fucking thing that like straddles the line of maybe going on too long. So like you're just like, oh, it's gonna be like 3 hours almost of this. Oh god. And there are times I will say I felt like at some points where I'm just like, this is actually too much shit happening. I don't know how I'm going to talk about this movie afterwards because so much is going on. And I don't have notes.
It's a lot.
I don't remember the order things happen in. So there will be a lot of jumping around. If like people are listening to this after having seen it, I apologize if you're like me and you get crazy about things not being in chronological order. There's actually no way I can remember everything that happens in chronological order, so I apologize.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot.
But this movie starts off right like where Thor Ragnarok ends off on, with
yeah, it's pretty funny just because like Thor Ragnarok, it is about like the end of Asgard, but it's a pretty comedic movie.
Yeah.
And then like you roll right into this, and like everyone's dead. It's just all murdered.
Yeah. So like Ragnarok ends with like the last Asgardians with Thor, Loki, and like the whole crew of people you know and a bunch of people you don't know getting into a ship and saying Asgard or Asgard's wherever we call home, blah blah blah, all these weird dumb little idioms. This movie starts off with all of them just being completely fucking decimated by Thanos and his cronies, and it's hilarious. Like what? Like if you watch them back to back, totally. And like, I am excited to do that at some point because that juxtaposition is going to be absolutely phenomenal. And how joyful and like looking towards the future that movie ends, and how bleak and shitty this one starts is so good. It's so tasty. Oh my god. But more importantly, this is the first time we really run into Thanos, the big bad purple blue dude, depending on what thing you see him in, because he changes his appearance a little bit between the appearances. This is the first time we see him do things, really. Like
Yes.
up
Yeah,
walking
he
around
was
punching people.
he was a stinger at the end of Avengers, and then he was like in a chair as an imposing force, but didn't actually do anything in Guardians.
Just sat there basically
Yeah.
watching. So for the people that have seen those movies, he had a part to play in kind of all of them. Like in Avengers specifically, he is the one that provides Loki with his army of like weird fucked up dudes and gives him one of the Infinity Stones and his scepter, and does the attack on Earth and all that sort of stuff. So like 6 years ago that movie came out in 2012. Is it to the date? Because it was in May. Holy shit, it's pretty close. It was May 4th, 2012. I just looked it up. And this movie came out April 27th. So, yeah, it's pretty close to the date of 6 years exactly. 6 years ago, we kind of get introduced to what's going on with all this stuff and who's kind of pulling the strings. And now we get to see that crazy motherfucker in action, and one of the first thing he does is fight the Hulk one-on-one and wins handily, and you're just like, oh, yeah. It's gonna be one of those movies. Okay. Like, I think one of my favorite things is that while this is all going on, like, we'll talk about Thanos specifically with his character story and arc and all that in like its own section. I kind of want to go through like the different heroes and like what they're kind of going through, because of the fight at the very beginning, Bruce Banner can't actually get the Hulk to come back out. He's like scared because he lost a fight, and I think that's so good. Like
he's pouting basically.
It's
got issues.
It's such a good, thoughtful way to not only like do some character development, but specifically to keep the dude who can like overpower the most of that army that attacks at some point by himself to not be part of the fight. Like, it's actually quite well thought out and planned. I liked it a lot.
Like, Hulk is so often the Avengers' secret weapon. It's like, yeah, but we have a Hulk. It's like,
yeah, exactly. Not anymore.
So it's just like, yeah, it's one of those stake raising things of like, yeah, he can't get it up. He can't.
And it's so good because in like some of the promo materials and teaser materials, they hide Bruce Banner because he's in the Hulkbuster with like the thing down. So like they hide that he's like not fighting as the Hulk pretty well. It's really dope. Like, they actually thought that through, and I thought that was real cool.
Yeah, because like you assume it's fucking Tony in Hulkbuster.
Totally.
Like, why wouldn't it be?
Yeah, totally.
Why would it be Bruce Banner in the Hulkbuster armor?
Makes no sense. Like, why would it be? That's stupid. You're stupid for thinking that.
Also, I love like the version of Bruce Banner that we get now, where he's like old stoner Bruce Banner. He's just like completely burnt out.
Yeah. I mean, he lost all his rage in Ragnarok, essentially.
It's true. He was Hulk for too long.
He fought for a long time. He was angry for a long time. So, I get it, man. I get it. As somebody who's angry all the time, I understand how tiring it is. Loki, straight up murked. He tries to pull a fast one and stab Thanos with his, like, little glowy disappeary dagger. Thanos just, like, steals the Infinity Stone that he was hiding from him, and then fucking kills him.
Snaps his... Like, he doesn't even use any of his powers to do it. He just, like, crushes his throat.
Yeah. He's just like, I'm a bigger man than you. Like, you are a little weak boy. You are a soy boy. And he just crushes him. Yeah, poor Loki.
He is the littlest frost giant.
It's annoying, too, because Loki... Like, okay, so for my personal background, I just watched Thor 2 and 3, like, on a trip on the way back. So Loki and Thor specifically in my mind, like, are very fresh. and Loki does some
Yeah.
real badass like trickery things, and in those movies specifically. So to just see him not do anything here is such a bummer. Oh my god, it sucks.
Yeah. Yeah. Because, I mean, like, when Loki's done right, he's good because he just makes things more interesting. Like, he just is doing stuff.
Because you can't trust anything when he's around.
Yeah.
To the point where I
No,
didn't think he was dead. I thought that he like was creating an illusion of dying so that Thanos would like leave him alone. And maybe he was. Like maybe they'll write that
maybe,
in.
like, that's the joy of Loki. Even if he's not, you could just have it that he was later if you want to bring him back.
Right. Exactly.
Like, there are many ways to bring back Loki if you want to. You can even have him die, but have a trick up his sleeve that he came back from dying or whatever.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorites.
That's a good one. Yeah. So, but like I understand why they did it because we'll like move on to Thor. It's directly to give some consequence to Thor to
Yeah.
really like start driving him off the deep end, to maybe give him like a little bit of an edge to become the god of thunder that he kind of started showing he was at the end of Ragnarok, and like thankfully actually becomes at some point in this movie, because fuck, I hate how much they've like made Thor just a strong dude who can fly and has a hammer for most of this without like the actual power. It's been such a bummer. So I was really hoping he would get his moment, and he really does later on.
He really does.
But like, yeah, they needed to set some stakes for him, and I think they wanted to have just more of a dour tone in general, and it's kind of hard when you have somebody like Loki, because in all of the Thor movies, and even Avengers, when Thor and Loki were hanging out and hated each other, quote unquote, or whatever was going on, they like had some like funny banter, and there was like a lightness when they were like hanging out because they're brothers or whatever, right? I think it was probably important to just like set the tone of this is not going to happen here. This is not a happy fun time. Like Thor is going to be really distressed about this whole situation.
Yeah, like it's important for Thor's arc that like it's just everything's terrible.
He needs to be like hell-bent on revenge. It's essentially he needs to be angry.
Just like, yeah.
So, and what's her name is no longer his like girlfriend or part of his life, so they didn't have like a love interest they could have done it with. So this is like the closest thing to really get him to set off the edge. I was wondering about that actually a little bit. If they had kept her in there and they like did something with that like love interest angle, I bet she would have been the one to die, and Loki would have had a thing to do before being killed off so readily.
Probably.
It's weird, right?
I
How
mean,
like that could have gone.
If you wanted to have Loki in this movie, you could do it. You just have to put him with one of the other groups.
That's true. Yeah, no, for sure.
But I don't know who you would have. Like you'd have to have him with like Doctor Strange or something, like someone who would like keep an eye on him.
Yeah.
Or else he would just leave. Like the other problem is like without Thor, like Loki would just like, this is like scary. I'm out.
Yeah, because even with Thor, he did that many times.
Yes, he tried to leave Ragnarok a lot.
Yeah,
He tried to dip.
It's true. Yeah,
Kind of a coward.
yeah,
But
he
also,
kind of had to die.
He doesn't. Also, cause kind of doesn't care. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's just like.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so the way we can tie this part in is that Thanos gets what he wants. He disappears using his ability to just move through space using the space stone or whatever, the space gem, to like move wherever he wants, basically in the universe at will. And the ship's distress beacon from when he attacked, like the Asgardian ship or whatever, is going off, and that's how the Guardians of the Galaxy ship find Thor kind of hanging out in space, still alive somehow.
Yeah. Well, and the other big thing is just like Heimdall with his dying breath sends Hulk to Earth.
Oh
recently.
shit, that's right. I did forget about
Yeah,
that.
that's like the because that happens first. Is we follow Hulk first. We come back to Thor later in the movie, but
Right. And the big thing with
that's
Hulk being
like
back is that Hulk's back from being somewhere in the universe.
yeah, they're like Bruce, where the hell have you been?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Also, he crash lands in Doctor Strange's house because of course he does.
That's just lucky. That's all that is. That's just movie and comic magic right there.
I mean, you know,
Literally.
he's set up to guard the Earth. It's just like maybe he has like a lightning rod for people falling to the planet.
Yeah. Okay, we'll go on that train then. So this is where Doctor Strange gets involved, and he's like, "Oh, we need to like contact people because this is gonna probably get bad." I didn't watch Doctor Strange the movie because I kind of don't care about that character at all. I think,
So you saw Iron Man?
yeah,
It's like that movie,
yeah, okay,
except he's more of an asshole.
cool, man. See, I knew that it would be kind of like that personality, and the thing is
Yeah.
that like I don't care about magic or the mystical arts or whatever they want to call it in this.
Yeah.
I've never really cared too much about Doctor Strange because he's always kind of been like a pacifist, like not pacifist, but like passive background character in stuff because he's magical and like too powerful to be like bothered with petty shit that goes on.
I think he's much better as a supporting character than a feature character, just in general.
Yes.
With Doctor Strange,
I
I would
think
say.
I think that's probably the way I wanted to discuss. Like what I'm talking about is like his appearance in other things before. It's always been kind of like I've been watching over this, or like I'm like here to give some advice, or like do something with time or whatever,
Yeah.
and that's fine.
So,
I don't want to see a
so
movie
the best
of that.
Doctor Strange story I've ever read is like how the story of him becoming Doctor Strange, like becoming the Sorcerer Supreme. But even that's really more of a Doctor Doom story because Doctor Doom comes in second place, and then Doctor Strange has to like fulfill one request of his, which is to try and save his mother from hell. So then they go to hell to try and save Doctor Doom's mom. That's a good comic.
That sounds actually interesting for sure.
Yeah, it's written and drawn by Mike Mignola, who created Hellboy.
Yeah,
So it's
cool.
good art.
Did I tell you I met that
It's
guy?
like, no, I never did that. No.
Oh, I've met that guy.
Cool.
He was kind of rude to me, but I didn't really care because it wasn't like outwardly like "fuck you, kid" or anything. It was just kind of
Yeah.
like I've had a long day and I don't want to talk, and
Yeah.
I was totally fine with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, nice guy. Anyways, so
Yeah.
I don't care about Doctor
But yeah,
Strange.
the big thing of the Doctor Strange's movie is just the Doctor Strange has this item, the Eye of I can't remember the name. Eye of Agamotto, and in the movie they just turned that into one of the Infinity Gems
Sure,
rather than the actual object is in comics.
right.
It's just like an enclosure for the Time Gem, and he uses the Time Gem to defeat the big bad at the end of that movie. That's like all that matters.
Sure. And I figured they probably did something like that. Because
Yeah.
all the other movies have, like, well, all of them except one, all of the Infinity Stones are, like, featured in some way as a thing that either helps or hinders what's going on, causes, like, the actual problem, or helps them in some way in their own movies. Except for one of them. I can't remember which one it is specifically. But I figured that it was probably one of the gems for Doctor Strange, giving like not the source of his power, but like probably that's what he's doing there, something to do with that. So
Like his job is to protect Earth and to protect the Time Gem. Like those are his two. That's his two jobs as being the Sorcerer Supreme.
Sure. Okay, fair enough. So that's all I missed out on then for Doctor Strange, and I kind of assumed it had something to do with an Infinity Gem. Anyway, it didn't matter to me about seeing the thing.
Yeah.
I might still see it at some point just to like round out my knowledge of all of the movies, Because I'm only missing three.
Yeah.
Out of the three,
I mean, it's
the least one I want to watch.
Yeah. Like, I mean, it's still a Marvel movie. It's just,
Yeah,
it's about a character I just didn't care about.
that's exactly it for me too. So Doctor Strange hooks up with Tony Stark, I believe, right?
Yes.
Tony Stark comes to hang out and talk to Bruce and find out what's going on and meet Doctor Strange and all that sort of stuff. And there's some banter and talking, and Bruce Banner
They
is
have a
like,
goatee off.
"They do, you're right." They have a snarky fuckhead off.
Yeah.
I kind of hate that character trait.
They're basically the same character.
Yeah. And I kind of hate
movies.
that character trait, especially when it's like doubled up like that without something like good to play off of. It's super obnoxious to me. But whatever. It lasts like a minute. It's no big deal.
They do a thing in this movie of trying to like put together the characters that are kind of the same.
Yeah.
And then compare them to have them compare themselves to each other.
Yeah, totally.
Fun.
The thing there, I guess, is Bruce says like, dude, it's coming. Like everything's about to be so fucked. You don't even know. You need to call Steve. Like we need to get Cap. We need to get Cap on this. And then like Tony is about to do it. Then they get attacked by I can't remember that dude's name. The Thanos lieutenant guy with like the telekinesis powers.
Yeah, I so do not know any of Thanos' henchmen's names.
That dude specifically has a name, though. I can't remember what it is. I think it's something like Murmur or something. It's like, I think it's like the word that you would use to describe a sound or something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It kind of doesn't matter. There's a fight. And with this fight comes a big, I don't know, like spacecraft of some sort, like this weird circular thing, and that's what Peter Parker on the school bus sees going on as he's riding probably to or from school or something, and that's how he gets involved. He sees that they cause a distraction, and he jumps out and just like swings his way towards it. So yeah, that's kind of how he gets mixed up.
Ebony Maw is the name of that character.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah. So part of the reason these henchmen characters are from comics, but they're from like 2013. They're not old characters.
Sure. Yeah. So Maw, there you go. I guess his big thing is that he's actually super powerful and kind of scary.
It's like real strong.
Yeah. Scarily strong. Maybe stronger than Thanos without the gauntlet. Like, it's amazing what you can do when you just think a thing to happen.
Yeah, telekinesis is pretty intimidating.
It's super overpowered for sure. Yeah, they just fight. The reason they're there, I guess I should say, is because they know Strange has one of the stones, and they are trying to get it from him, basically. And it just so happens that Spider-Man saw it, so he heads over there. Tony Stark is hanging out there, who's Iron Man, and Bruce Banner is no longer the Hulk, and can't become the Hulk. He has a Hulk dysfunction.
He's like going, Urgh!
Yeah,
and starts turning green, but it's not happening. It's like he goes, it's never happened to me before.
Yeah, they do some erectile dysfunction jokes. Yeah. There's a fight. It goes about the way you would expect, with them all getting thrown into space, essentially, while they're trying to save... I think it's actually Doctor Strange who gets captured, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because he's the one who has the gem, so he gets, paralyzed and wrapped up.
Yeah. Because his cape...
Oh, yeah, they take him with him because they can't get at the stone. There's a spell protecting it.
Right, yeah.
In its little enclosure, so they just take Doctor Strange with them.
Right.
There's also like there's a good scene of like when they're like coming up on the villains, of like street level, like people running away, and like a car crashes, and like it's just some good like build up stuff
of like, yeah,
that's,
people are
it's just like
around.
it's like just directed and like at like street level, and it feels real in like a way some of these movies kind of can feel
Sure.
less than grounded, and it's in a movie that's like space battles. It's like a grounded moment.
Totally. Shit like that's super important for sure. So that's kind of how like that gets involved and what happens with them later. So that's how that's like, we'll call that group 1, I guess, is Doctor Strange,
Yeah.
Spider-Man, Tony Stark, and
It's like, I love that Doctor Strange gets captured and Spider-Man is just like hanging onto the ship just because he's like, I gotta help this guy.
nano machines are now the thing that
Yeah.
give Iron Man his suit and give Spider-Man his new suit, and I think that's dope.
Yeah, Iron Man gives Spider-Man an armor,
It's so
but
good.
only so he can pop out a parachute to get rid of him.
Yeah.
But Spider-Man's too resourceful and still comes along anyway.
And that armor is so good. That armor is so fucking good.
It's pretty good. I love it. Spider-Man's armor. His like fucking spider arm things.
It's so
when he
good.
needs them.
Yeah. And he needs them a lot in this one. Holy crap, does he rely on those a lot?
Yeah, well, you know, when Spider-Man's in space, he's out of his element. He's your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Right.
Friendly space Spider-Man.
Yeah, exactly.
All he does make a joke about, how can I be your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man if there's no neighborhood?
No neighborhood, yeah.
Gotta help.
Okay, what else goes on at this point? Does it go back to Thor? Or does it go to Black Widow? Not Black Widow. Scarlet Witch. At this point, something like that.
At this point, I don't remember what happens. Whether they do the Guardians next.
I feel like they do
They
the Guardians next. Yeah.
Because I feel like the thing that Scarlet Witch and Vision like lead into happens kind of late.
Sure, that's fair.
I feel like everyone else has been established by that point.
Yeah.
Before
So
train scene.
Thor gets picked up by the Guardians. There are 2 frames of mind when they are all kind of talking over how they can, their plans to stop Thanos. One of them is basically Thor needs to go get a new weapon because Mjolnir is broken. It's gone. So
Yeah.
he needs a new weapon forged, and he's going to go get one from this place that makes the best weapons ever in the universe. And of course, that gets Rocket Raccoon to be super, super excited. And he goes with him, and Teenage Groot, who sucks, goes as well.
Uh-huh.
But I really like some of the banter there. I like that Thor refers to Rocket as Rabbit. And
That's pretty good. I love how because Rocket Raccoon, he's always gets mad about being called a raccoon, but when he's called a rabbit, he's just so confused. He
Yeah.
doesn't know what to feel.
it's real good. And he's so earnest about it. He's like, "Good job, Rabbit." Just like, like it's not like making fun of him at all. He just like talks to him like that's his name or whatever. So that's pretty good. You get some pretty good stuff about Chris Pratt. What's his actual name in that again?
Star-Lord?
Not Star-Lord. What's his name? Like, yes, Star-Lord, but like that's his like fake name, you know? I can't remember his stupid real name in that stupid movie series. Oh. And I actually like the throwaway
Peter Quill.
Quill, yeah. I really like the throwaway joke where he's like, I'm Peter Quill, and he's like, I'm Doctor Strange or whatever. He's like, oh, we're using fake names. I'm Star-Lord. It's real good. That's
No, that was Spider-Man.
oh yeah, I'm
does that.
Spider.
The
Oh,
Iron Man.
Spider-Man. You're right. That's real good. That's a good gag.
Yeah. Doctor Strange asked
Yeah,
him who
I'm
he is.
Peter.
He's like, I'm Peter Parker.
Yeah.
I'm Doctor Strange. Oh, we're using
Oh,
Fake names. Okay.
We're using fake names. Yeah. It's real good. I really like that joke. Like, that got me in a way I wasn't expecting. Also, that's just like perfect Spider-Man writing as well. That's like exactly
Yes.
the type of thing I was kind of hoping he would be. But there you get some good stuff about when they pick up Thor, about Quill being like, oh, he's not so attractive, because it's obvious that like Chris Hemsworth is like way more attractive just in every way than Chris Pratt is. And so like, I don't know, that whole part's really funny, especially with Drax just being like, it's like an angel had a baby with a pirate or something.
Yeah, because Thor only has one eye, so he's
Yeah,
so he's a pirate.
it's real good. I like just how into Thor Drax is. Saying, what's another line?
I really like when like
You're a dude,
Star-Lord
he's a
and
man,
Gamora
or
have their
something.
emotional scene, and fucking Drax is just like standing there eating eating snacks.
Oh, that one's
Just like,
real
how
good.
long you been there? And he's like,
An hour.
hours.
Or hours or something, yeah.
Yeah.
I move,
Just like,
but I move so slow. It's almost imperceptible.
I'm invisible.
Yeah, to the human
They're
eye.
like, you're not. You're like, nope, no, you're
And
not.
there's just a long shot of him slowly eating a thing. So good. Oh my god. I have to say that I think the comedy they hit out of the park in parts in this one, in ways
Yeah,
that they
there's-
haven't in a long time.
Oh, some of the jokes are so good.
Yeah, you can tell they got all of their A team together to make this movie for like the writers, for sure.
Yeah, totally.
My god, it's so fucking good. So that's kind of what happens there. So then Star-Lord, oh my god, I was almost said Garona. What's her name? Gamora?
Gamora.
It's close enough. Gamora and Mantis Lady?
Mantis and Drax.
Drax. Yeah, and Drax go to basically take on, or they want to go to the Collector's place.
Yeah, they go to nowhere.
They go to nowhere
Collector
because they
has
know that Thanos is probably going to hit that place up, and they want to stop him before he gets more powerful from the gems. I can't remember what like who has what gems, but I think this one I specifically remember in Nowhere was the reality one, because they really didn't want Thanos to be able to just think of something and it happening.
Yeah.
Seems like a real bad thing. And the fact that it's like his third gem out of all of them, like he gets it real early, is super concerning.
It's real bad.
Yeah, it's super bad. So yeah, they kind of split up, and I'm just going to continue with this. So Thor gets his weapon after some trials and tribulation and taking the full brunt of a star exploding, essentially, which is like exactly the type of comic bullshit you want a god to be forced to do, and it's so good.
Oh yeah. There's a really good part with Thor and the Guardians, specifically with Peter, where like Thor's going over his backstory about like how his dad's dead, and then Peter's like, "Yeah, and I killed my dad, who killed my mom." It's just like comic book soap opera family bullshit. It's just like, God, these people and their family issues.
Okay, here's actually a black spot in my knowledge that I wanted you to fill in. Is that is that part referring to something that happens in Guardians 2?
Yes,
Okay.
that is Guardians 2.
Okay.
That's
so he meets his
basically
father?
The story of Guardians 2. Yeah.
Interesting.
His father is Ego, the living planet.
The living planet. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever. Cool. I didn't know that was that part. That's cool. Mm-hmm. See, I thought to me it sounded like he was making up bullshit to one up him, but it's kind of
Yeah.
the fact that it's true.
I mean, he kind of was. Yeah. Also, his dad was played by Kurt Russell. Was the other.
I did know that. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. That part is good. You're right. Actually, that whole I would say all of Thor's interactions are top notch in this one.
Yeah.
They're pretty good.
Like when Rocket gives him a new eye that he stole from some guy who owed him money,
Yep.
even though he did get the money from the guy, he just stole the eye afterwards.
Oh, that's right. That
Rocket.
we actually saw it happen too. If I remember. That was in the prison, right? In the first
was
one?
it?
I think it is.
Oh, man.
Because remember he says something like, I'm gonna get that eye when they're like doing the
sounds like
prison
Rocket.
break.
Uh-huh.
I think they actually holy shit.
That's amazing.
That makes that part even
That's
better.
amazing.
Because we saw it happen. Oh my god. Anyways, yeah, Thor has to hold open a thing to restart a giant forge, and the only way to restart the forge is to get a star to basically explode into it, get all its
They have to
energy.
restart a star,
Yeah,
which they do by pulling on a thing.
yeah. Like
They have to try really hard.
I do like when comic books give some, like, the nice thing about having magic people and gods is that you can give them outlandishly stupid shit to do, and this is a perfect example of
Yes.
that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, this
Yeah,
is
no,
why
you
you
just
have
have
a
to-
Thor.
Look, the quintessential Marvel moment is Spider-Man lifting a heavy thing.
Yeah.
So if you have characters that are more powerful, you have to give them something bigger to lift.
Right. And that's why, like, the original, like, Superman movie, him flying to, like, spin the Earth the other way to rewind time is actually perfect dumb comic book shit, too.
Yeah.
I'm totally okay with all of that type of stuff. So Thor has to hold a thing open and restart a star, essentially.
So that Peter Dinklage, who's a giant,
I couldn't handle it, dude. I couldn't handle seeing Peter Dinklage as that fucking.
very tall.
Oh my god, it bothered me.
My friend was in the theater, and there was some woman next to him who was like arguing with whoever she was with that it couldn't possibly be Peter Dinklage. He's too tall.
Oh my god, that makes me just angry. It just makes me angry. Anyways, they make Thor's new weapon, and with that, he heads to see what's going on Earth, basically, and join the battle.
Groot provides the handle. Also,
Oh,
after they forge.
You're right. I forgot. That's actually like the super important part that Groot plays in all of this, because he doesn't do a single goddamn thing other than that.
Yeah. Well, he plays video games and is angsty.
Ugh. I hate it so much. But yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Him like wrapping his like tendrils around it and then like hardening it and breaking it off. So fucking good. Holy shit.
Yeah,
That's a good
the
Groot
thing.
moment.
Like if you bring the shitty teen along in your movie, he has to fucking do the right thing at the right moment to make up for being shitty all the time.
He has to do something
so
at
good.
least. Jesus.
Exactly. Yeah.
Fucking useless teen.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. I guess jumping back to nowhere, shit goes real bad.
Shit goes real bad in nowhere.
Gamora
So
told
the big
Quill
thing
earlier
before they go to
that she knows where
Yeah,
one of
yeah.
the stones where nobody knows is and like what
Yeah.
he needs, so she needs to be killed if she gets
she makes Peter promise her that if Thanos is about to capture her, that he kills her.
yeah, like no joke, like you need to fucking kill me because everybody
Yeah, and
will die.
Yeah, and he agrees
Yeah.
to do it. He promises her.
So just like that, in the next scene of Nowhere, she gets captured and he's faced to make the decision of pulling the trigger basically when he can to kill her. And he does.
He pulls the trigger.
Yeah.
But Thanos has the reality gem already, so it's bubbles.
Bubbles. Yeah. Yeah.
But I fucking love Thanos is like, I like you, and then just fucking disappears with her.
Yeah.
It's like, lets him live.
Oh yeah, because Thanos knows that like he likes people that know what has to be done and will do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Like-
kind of his thing. Really.
There's also just a good thing if he turns Drax to stone and like Mantis into like spaghetti, just because like good like visual stuff of just doing stuff with the reality gem. Although they do get better,
which is a bummer. I kind of thought that they should just died there that way.
Yep.
Probably a good thing that they didn't, because Mantis becomes super important later on for a plan.
Yes.
But basically, Gamora's gone, captured by Thanos. Drax, Quill, and I just said her name, Mantis, meet up with Group 1, as we call them, of Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, and Tony Stark, and they kind of devise a plan that they need to get the gauntlet off of Thanos and like defeat him basically before he becomes more powerful. The theme is we need to, for their group, is we need to like take every opportunity to get that, like to stop Thanos before he gets all of the things. They're like the attack team essentially, because they're moving around in space and going where he's gonna go and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, because they have the time gem, so they basically decide we can go somewhere and set a trap for Thanos, basically.
Right, because he's going to be coming for us.
He has to come to us.
Yeah, for sure.
Just one other mention: the way that the Iron Man Spider-Man beat Ebony Maw is because Spider-Man's seen Alien.
Yeah,
so he just thinks to fucking blow a hole in the side of the ship and suck him out into space. Which is real good.
It's really fucking good. Yeah.
Like, this character who's, like, so powerful, and he just gets fucking... They, like, cheap shot him so bad.
It's really good. Yeah. But, to be fair, some of the heroes get cheap shotted to death in this film pretty good themselves, so it's fine.
You're not wrong.
Loki literally gets killed in the first 5 minutes. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that all happens on Earth, I guess, like, just to quit. This is, okay, the Earth stuff until they get to Wakanda is kind of the most boring shit. Because sorry.
No one cares about
Vision
and Scarlet Witch.
Right, because
nobody cares about that.
Vision's actually just, like, a cyborg human in these movies that, like, is a pussy. So he sucks. And Scarlet Witch is the most powerful being ever, but nobody wants her to unleash her full force, basically, and she's scared of everything. So it's a bummer. What we do get, the people, it's weird, because the people with, like, no power at all, like, Black Widow is...
Black Widow... Captain America and Falcon, they get like the hypest entrance.
Yeah.
Like they're like they show up in the movie late. It's like, oh shit. Crowd's going nuts.
Yeah. Scarlet Witch and Vision are like fucking around on the side or something, meeting up at like a shitty hotel. It's weird, dude.
Yeah.
It's a weird start to like their introduction. Yeah. They're DTF. And then they get jumped by, like, basically intergalactic muggers. It's real weird, their whole introduction. And they, like, get the shit kicked out of them and are eventually saved.
They get jumped by Proxima Midnight and Corvus Glaive.
I'm so glad you actually looked up these names. That's hilarious. I didn't know those names at all.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then the big dude is actually called Black Dwarf.
That's pretty good. I think I did recognize that name. I don't know why though.
Yeah.
Yeah, they get jumped and it goes back and forth of being bad and them winning. Then it goes to bad, and luckily what's left of the new Shield, essentially, with Captain America, Falcon, and Black Widow have been keeping tabs on them because they're super powerful beings and they don't want them out after midnight, essentially. So
they're teens on the run.
They kind of are. to the point where they have like, you have to go back. Like they have that conversation of like, we should just like run away together. It's like, no, you have to go back.
Fucking adults.
You have to go back before mom and dad find out. You gotta sneak back in your room. You gotta stop the tape
Romeo and
recorder
Juliet.
of you snoring. So it sounds
Just
like
like
you're
Romeo
there.
and Juliet. I can't wait for them to die.
Yeah, it's so uninteresting to me. Yeah, so that's kind of how they all meet back up, even though they like been kind of together on and off that whole time. So they're not kind of like, oh, it's nice seeing you. It's kind of like, where were you? Sort of thing.
Yeah. The problem is that when they made Vision in these movies, they gave him an Infinity Stone in his forehead, so they made him super important.
Yeah, for sure. And he's not super important.
No.
In fact, he is the biggest hindrance, because if it wasn't for him existing with the Infinity Stone, they could have just done what their plan would have been right away, and it would have been negligible. Like, it's like, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, they want to destroy the stone, but because it's like part of Vision's brain, they need to like remove it.
Yeah.
Without killing him.
And there's one place this
like a
can be
whole
done.
thing.
There's only one place with the technology on Earth that this could be done. Cue Wakanda.
Yeah.
And I didn't see Black Panther, even though I like black people, and I think it would be a probably pretty good movie. It's not because I'm
pretty good
racist.
movie.
I swear. I like to Get Out. I'm cool with black movies. In all reality, actually, you know what? Black Panther is only this year. I'm not even that behind. I'm like 2 months behind.
Yeah.
So it's not I don't know why I'm making excuses for myself, but so I don't know a whole lot about like the Wakanda thing, but from what I understand, it's kind of just a civil war in that movie that's going on, right? Between like
pretty much.
traditionalists and like new imperialists, essentially.
Well, what's weird is the villain from that movie, like he's kind of like Thanos in terms of villain archetype, in that he has like, he just thinks Wakanda should be using its power to help black people, which in his mind is just sending guns to black neighborhoods, basically sending all their powerful tech.
Oh,
And
yeah,
he,
that's
like,
a bad idea.
Through ways, and he turns out he's like has a right to the throne and like wins a duel for the throne. It's like kind of what happens.
Okay.
Also that movie finds room to make Black Panther Black James Bond. Like there's just like parts of that movie that are just doing James Bond formula stuff, so that's fun.
That's kind of cool, actually. I like that.
Yeah.
Because, there's nothing I cared less about growing up than Black Panther comic books. Like, could not care less. Ever. About that character. So,
That's fair.
it's real dope hearing that, like... I mean, every time I've seen him in other stuff, like in Civil War, for the, 10 minutes maybe, that he's in that. And, like, in this and all that stuff, I think he's fucking dope. And I think that dude is, like, cool in that role. So...
Yeah. In comics, I put him on the level with, like, Namor, where, like...
Yeah, again, don't care.
When he's getting his king on and just being a badass, he's, like, super cool. But, like, if you don't know what you're doing with him, you don't have, like, an idea for what he's doing and, like, his, like, why he cares about this, it doesn't work.
Sure.
He has to have, like, a reason to, like, care, basically.
Could you imagine how little people would care about about a fucking Grand Mariner movie? Or a Submariner movie?
Submariner movie?
Yeah.
I mean, they're making an Aquaman movie.
And people don't...
Right?
He's the named dude, and people don't care. Could you imagine if it was just like, coming soon, Namor? Everybody's like, what? Who's this clown? Clown?
He's got little wings on his feet.
Yeah, exactly. Although
Namor's great.
I didn't actually when they kind of like reinvented everything a few years back, I didn't actually like look into if they did anything with him. I did read that new 52 Aquaman though. I thought that was kind of okay, where Aquaman's like a joke, but he's like trying to hide from society still.
Problem is that's like every Aquaman comic book since the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Is like, no, Aquaman's like a joke, but he's also a badass. It's like, yeah, that one's been done a lot.
Yeah.
My actually favorite version of Aquaman is in the Brave and the Bold cartoon, because he's just like a super stereotypical superhero who's like hands on his hips and just wants to tell you stories about his great adventures.
Ugh. My favorite Aquaman
it's just funny
version is the Super Best Friends episode of South Park, where there's a ripoff of him called Seaman. Really good. Anyway, I digress. So, okay, we go to Wakanda, where they can perform the operation to detach the stone from Vision, saving Vision and allowing them to destroy the stone. They get attacked, of course, because it's a comic book thing. And this is kind of where like the promo materials that you would have seen for this movie, like this is where those shots are taken from, of like the Wakandans and like some of the Avengers kind of like standing in the like war line within the field, like ready to like fight, that whole sort of thing.
Yeah.
So that's where this is
the
taken.
big battle is there.
Yeah. Thanos is just throwing his army basically at them to get the stone and kill whoever, because he doesn't give a shit. Like, whatever. As long as we get the stone, just like kill them all. It doesn't matter, because we're going to wipe out half of everybody anyway, so whatever. There's really not a whole lot, I think, to say here, because this is the big fight sequence. Like, the thing is the spectacle here that happens until like the end of it. But
I think it's telling you literally didn't mention Bucky, who shows up here.
I hate Bucky.
But, who cares?
I hate Bucky. I didn't like The Winter Soldier at all. I thought that was a bad movie. I hate
the best thing they do with Bucky is when Rocket tries to buy his gun and then wants to buy his arm.
Yeah. No, you're right. That's what the annoying thing is I'm pretty sure Bucky's going to be the new Captain America when all's said and done. We'll get into speculation stuff probably at the end of this recording. And that really fucking pisses me off. Anyway, this is where the fight happens. Bucky just shows up. Like, he's just basically called, like, hey, you want to show up? And he's like, yeah, let's do it. Whatever.
Well, he's been living in Wakanda. They established that.
Well, I mean, they give him his arm.
The end of
That's his call.
Yes, they give him a new arm.
Yeah.
But he's been hanging out in like a hut in Wakanda.
Dude, fuck Bucky. God damn it. Okay, and this is kind of where it all coalesces back together, essentially. This is where Thor comes after his weapon's made, gets like throws himself through space to get back to Earth and join the battle against like the overwhelming forces. And while he's doing that, or that's where he comes with Rocket and Groot, and they like all fight together. So Group 2 is fighting the war on Earth. Group 1 sets the trap for Thanos, almost succeeds. The reason I'm skipping the thing, by the way, is because I figured we would talk about that when we talk specifically about Thanos and his arc.
Oh, okay.
Because that's
skipping the.
There's a huge thing.
There's another stone. Yeah, there's another stone he got, but we'll skip that part. Okay.
I mean, Red Skull shows up.
Yes, Red Skull.
Here
in our blockbuster, here is a Nazi in space, a space ghost Nazi.
Yeah. Who's like the Deckard Cain of like terrible, like things about to happen.
Yeah, it's like, oh, when I got blasted by that Infinity Stone at the end of Captain America, the first Avenger, I got blasted into space, and now I'm cursed to be a messenger at this
Forever.
pole.
Yeah. Yeah, it's real bad, and it's really sad. That whole part is actually really sad for a bunch of reasons.
Yeah.
We'll talk. That's all about Thanos, though. That has nothing to do with the other Avengers, really, except one. But yeah, we'll get into that.
Also, it's not it's not Hugo Weaving playing Red Skull. Actually,
no,
I didn't even.
I don't know who it is though.
But it's not. Yeah.
Do you like?
I do not.
Okay, it's probably a no name, which is fine, because you just need to put makeup on somebody and they're Red Skull.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
I mostly note that because I didn't realize it when I watched the movie. I found that out afterwards.
Oh, okay. I kind of assumed it probably wasn't because I feel like I would have heard something about it. Like, that somebody would have said something. I mean, suffice it to say, I saw the movie a week later than you.
Hey. Yeah. Also, changing out the actor playing the character makes it easier to have him in as a surprise.
Right.
Because of all the fucking casting spoilers that go on with these movies.
Totally. Yeah, for sure. So Thanos gets the stone from that part, and we'll discuss how and why and blah, blah, blah. But
yes,
he's more powerful now. Soul Stone, I think, is that one for the reason that, or the way he gets it. Anyways,
yeah,
he's missing two stones, the one from Vision's head and the Time Stone. So he comes to the trap to meet up with Doctor Strange and gets jumped by the rest of them. It's really funny. It's kind of like the mugging scene again, but reverse, where they all just kind of like lunge at him at a point. It's really good.
There's one good Doctor Strange part before that where he's like meditating and like spinning around because he's like using the time gem to run every possible scenario.
Yeah.
And he's like,
they lose all of them except
I ran
one.
The numbers. We win once.
Once, yeah.
So there's a chance.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he's seen all of them. Like, he's seen all the outcomes. Which makes some of the decisions he makes questionable. But, like, obviously he knows that he has to do it that way.
Yeah.
So, whatever.
I will say, the one thing I do like about Doctor Strange in these movies is he's not shy about just fucking using a time gem and, like, using the powers at his disposal. It's not like pulling a Goku here or something or holding back.
Right. Yeah, no, for sure. Like, he's given these powers for a reason. He's going to use them. For sure.
Yep.
And use them he does. I think this whole part really... Oh my god. Okay, so this plan to get the Infinity Gauntlet off of Thanos is so cool because it showcase it's the thing I actually love about Avengers and like the cartoons and comics and stuff is when they work together to do a thing and their powers are like complementing each other. So you have like Doctor Strange making portals for Spider-Man, just flying through them really quickly and like being super agile. And like
my favorite is he makes a portal for Quill to jump through backwards while giving the middle finger.
Yeah, that one's really good to cause like a distraction for a second. Tony's Stark doing his thing, like his weird technological magic, essentially, of like always seeming to be able to make shields that could withstand god punches and powers. And I don't know what he fucking does to make them so durable where, like, the Hulk can get the shit kicked out of him, but he can, like, just put his feet into the sand, literally, and, like, stand up to this dude. Whatever. It's fine. It's comic book shit.
Iron Man does this thing where, like, sticks his legs together to make, like, one big booster rocket.
Yeah. It's really dumb, science-y, like, bullshit, and I love it.
Just because... he's got nanobots, they can do all this.
Yeah.
Also, like his armor keeps getting ripped off and then repairing itself.
Yeah, it's all real good.
Like then like starts like not because he's like lost too many nanobots, it can't like fill in eventually.
Yeah,
that's so good. I love that shit.
And the plan actually starts working, where Mantis is basically keep using her like soothing mind stuff, like her mind meld stuff, to like keep him not fully aware of what's going on and like kind of drowsy while they like the rest of them all wrestle to get this glove off, which is hilarious.
They're all, like, holding him.
They're all like trying to get this stupid thing off, and they all have like superhuman strength. It's just really funny how tight this glove is, essentially. This is where we find out that Thanos has killed Gamora, and that makes Quill freak out and ruin everything by punching him in the face and like jolting Mantis in the process, and him like getting his wits back about him, putting the gauntlet back on, and like winning is essentially the best way to put it. Like, he just wins when he has that thing on. He straight up gets the stone from Doctor Strange after Strange is about to kill after he's about to kill Tony Stark. And he's like, no, just spare his life and you can have the stone. Which is like super uncharacteristically wrong.
Yeah, it felt so weird, and I'm like, "What? This feels wrong. It doesn't feel like a thing." Doctor Strange is such an asshole. Why would he do this?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just like feels out of character.
It is like, out of character, but he knew, right? Like, he saw that what he had to do. So whatever. Or you know what? Maybe he saw that like he's gonna get the stone anyway, and he actually will kill everybody there, including him. So, like, I might as well at least, like, do something good and just give him the stone. Get him out of here.
Mm-hmm. Or something is gonna come of it in the next movie.
Sure. Yeah, I'm sure. So now he's only missing the one from Vision's head. Luckily, the battle is going off and on, good and bad for them down on Earth. Group 2. But I guess the most important thing is that somebody actually sneaks past the lines to get to Vision when he's being worked on at the Wakandan capital, I guess, or whatever, like where the operation's happening, essentially. Disturbs it. Vision flies all the way across the battlefield to get away from it, and then this is where Scarlet Witch is supposed to, like, make the decision of this robot Jeeves motherfucker that, she fell in love with for whatever godforsaken reason that they devised in the film, or saving all of
British.
Or saving all of existence.
Half of existence, thank you very much.
Well, as far as they know, they think it's all of existence.
Yeah.
And it takes way too long of a decision, I will say. Like, way too long. To the point where Thanos is able to show up, like, as it's happening.
It doesn't help that, like, we've seen this same conflict earlier in this movie done better with Peter and Gamora.
Totally.
Like,
yeah, no, I don't know. There's
like, I get it that it's hitting a theme, but the Vision and Scarlet Witch stuff is easily
totally
the weakest part of the movie.
The theme is sacrifice, right? For like every single one of them, essentially. Like, yeah, especially Thanos. We'll get to that. So Thanos shows up, and this is a part of the movie. Tell me if you've heard this one before, where all the strong dudes throw themselves as fodder to let the big thing happen in front of them. This is like the thing that happens in everything. That where like there's powerful beings where like everyone else with power will just throw their lives into the fire to hope that like this stupid thing that they planned will work.
Yeah.
And that's what happens basically. The Hulk doesn't exist still. Hulkbuster gets just completely fucked up.
It gets like trapped in a wall basically at the end.
War Machine just gets instantly like thrown out of the sky, like he's just done instantly.
Yeah,
doesn't do a goddamn thing basically, which is really funny.
I mean, he was throwing napalm earlier, like he got his moment. His moment was not going to be against Thanos.
Those were nice.
He's a guy with guns.
Those were nice looking explosions, by the way. I have to say that was true. A pretty dope part.
It's good to see like War Machine just shooting lots of guns at things.
It's just what he does. That's his only thing.
It's his only thing.
I mean, whatever. They all just start throwing themselves at what's going on, and it doesn't work out so hot for any of them. The big surprise, I guess, is that Captain America is able to like kind of hold him off for a second, to the point where Thanos kind of like looks at him almost impressed, like, "Hey, this guy's pretty. Look at this little guy. The little guy's real strong."
So that's kind of a nod to the comic book version of this story.
Yeah,
which is based, and because like the most famous scene in that is just, it's kind of like the last plan to like get the glove off, where all the heroes just throw themselves at Thanos, really just as a distraction for this other plan, which is Silver Surfer coming in and sliding the glove off when Thanos is distracted for a moment, as like Warlock is telling him, not yet, not yet. But in the comic version, Thanos is literally killing all the heroes one by one.
Yeah.
Till Captain America is the last one standing, and is like, he gets the like, as long as one man stands against you, you'll never win.
Yeah.
It's like has his showdown with Thanos until Thanos, it almost happens, and then Thanos is like, what the fuck was I doing? And like kills Captain America with a backhand.
Yeah. Okay. Like, I thought we would maybe talk more in depth about kind of the differences between the comic and stuff, and we can in a little.
Yeah. It's just that Captain America scene is like,
it's what Captain America
is.
That's the
only reason. Yeah, like that's one of those Cap moments is Captain America versus Thanos.
Yeah.
So that's why like that happens in that movie.
Sure, but I guess what I'm getting at is like, I don't want to make the comparison too much right now. They should have had that moment. Captain America should have said that. He should have made a reference back to the bully thing. Like,
you're not. So
they did this wrong.
That he didn't say anything there is how I knew he wasn't gonna die. I'll say.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, no, fair enough.
I knew he wasn't done because they hadn't properly done that movie. They just gave a slight nod.
That's fair. I really wish they had done that though, because I really would have liked that. I hope they do it still, I guess is the way I'll cap that.
They need to do it.
Yeah. They need to, right? Because...
Yeah.
Okay, we'll get into that, because that's future stuff.
I will say, there are moments I thought they needed to do that they haven't done in the past. Like, in Ultron, there was a moment that I thought they needed to do, they didn't do.
I think they needed to do a lot of things different for Ultron. That
was... You're not wrong.
God. Ultron
that movie's
was
bad.
Like, I still like it because it's a whatever.
It's bad on the scale of these mostly fine Marvel movies that are mostly just middle of the road.
It is such a fucking mess. Who wrote that?
It's a mess.
I don't want to call it. Oh, of course, it's Joss Whedon. That's why. Anyways, that seems super dismissive. I've become less and less enthralled by Joss Whedon as he does stuff. He's been driving me nuts. Okay, anyways, this is all happening. Scarlet Witch is in the middle of destroying the gem and crying about it, and it's a big moment. And it's a huge moment to the point where it takes like 5 full fucking minutes for it to happen, and it's like...
Yeah.
It's taking forever, it's super dramatic, and the music's playing. Then it finally happens, and Thanos is like, well, shit. Okay, well, luckily I have this, and just rewinds time.
It's like, hey, good job, you did it.
Yeah. Rewinds time.
I have this time gen, though.
Punches his hand into Vision's head and just grabs the gem. No problem.
It's like, I feel he like daintily grabs it with like 3 fingers, but then like pulls out Vision's entire frontal lobe. It's just like, oh man. It looks like maybe he'll like just pull out the stone, but then like Vision's fucking head is gone.
Yeah.
He's super dead.
It's like pathetic.
I was very happy because he was so sick of Vision.
Sure.
It's like,
but
yeah.
This is a problem, is that it's pathetic how little power they gave Vision when he was super powerful. Like, it's pathetic how little he does. He's there to die.
Yes.
He's there to be Paul Bettany for a while, and then be a pain in the ass for everybody's plan, and then to die. Twice. It's so dumb.
Yeah. it's not. It's weakest part of the movie.
For sure. So yeah, he has all of the gems, disappears, and half of everybody in the universe starts not existing anymore, and we cut to credits basically with him looking at the sunset. It's real weird.
We get a real long scenes of all these characters dying.
Yeah.
Including Black Panther and Spider-Man, so it's like, yeah, these characters are definitely coming back from the dead.
Black Panther,
like,
Spider-Man,
question.
Doctor Strange.
It's basically the characters who are definitely under contract for more movies die, and the characters whose actors are on contracts that are ending soon don't die, because they're getting the next movie, and then maybe they're done.
Yeah.
If you're looking at it in the cold, realist way.
So, here's the interesting part. The ones who don't die are the original Avengers.
Yeah.
So, the original Avengers, I think, in the next Avengers are going to have the moment where they're going to have that, like, cool moment where on screen we see the OG original Ant-Man, Hulk, Thor, Cap, Iron Man, and Wasp all hanging out for the first time ever, and then they're all gonna die. Like, maybe not all of them, because Ant-Man and Wasp are kind of newish too, but like, it's gonna, I think it's real cool that the end of, it's gonna end, I think, with like the starting characters, the originals. I think that's just so fucking like poetic and awesome. I love it. I love it so much.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's real good. Also, if people actually thought that Spider-Man was going to fucking die, you are crazy. After all the shit they went through to get the rights for Spider-Man back, to do that, you are fucking daft if you think they were going to kill him in the second movie he's been in.
Well, third.
Well, let's be real. Second. Okay, you know what? I'll give you third because he has some really good moments in that fight in Civil War. So fine, third. Yeah. But like, come on.
Yeah, no. Although the audience, this was like one of those like audience reaction is so good though.
Yeah.
People go, "What?"
Yeah.
And also,
I saw it
everyone
too late.
sticking around for through the credits.
And
it's also great. Like everyone stayed, and then the credits is just fucking Nick Fury and Maria Hill also turning to dust. It's so good. I love how they double down. It's like, you thought we were gonna tease you for the next movie? No, just more.
You know what the best part about that is that then this shows a symbol and nobody knows who Captain Marvel is. Either.
I know. It's like, get hype for Captain Marvel, and like nobody recognizes
Captain Marvel's like colors and little star thing. Everybody thinks that like super important characters are dusted. Dude, it's hilarious because like we know that we don't know what's gonna happen, but we know what's gonna happen. But for like that kid that's like 12 right now,
exactly.
This is dope.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, totally. That's who it's for.
Totally. Yeah. No, it's super dope. But anyways, okay, we should talk about Thanos because we spent the first like hour here talking specifically about everybody else. Oh, I guess the other thing I'll end with is Thor kicks like the living fuck out of a lot of shit, and you think kills Thanos, but he doesn't because he has bad aim, essentially. He doesn't kill him. He just like stops him for a second, and then Thanos has the power of everything, so it didn't matter.
Snaps his fingers.
Yeah.
Classic. The one other thing we missed was Nebula.
Oh, that's
and that
right.
She shows up during the fight on Titan and does what Nebula does in these movies, which is show up in a ship, very angry, and crashes it into the person she's looking for.
It's true.
She does that literal thing in Guardians 2 also.
Yep. Yep. Oh, also they spend a bunch of time showing how she's been getting tortured for a while. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. Let's just say that she's gonna have a role to play. If you don't know.
Yeah, she was a big part. She was big in Guardians 2 also.
Oh, was she?
Her and Gamora basically like come to terms and like come to.
Is that why she says, "Where's Gamora"?
Yeah.
Okay.
She goes from wanting to kill Gamora to her and Gamora like hugging by the end of that movie.
Okay, so they're like full-blown sisters again.
Yes,
or whatever.
Yes.
Or like
they have
whatever, yeah.
They came to terms. It's like two sisters who were lived in an abusive relationship, like talking their shit out and overcoming it, basically.
Sure, yeah. We'll talk about the future of her when we talk about more of what is likely coming. This movie is Thanos' kind of like background origin story mashup thing mixed in with all of this as well.
It's his story. It is. It was in the comics too.
Yeah.
Like that's how you. The thing about this story is it's Thanos' story.
Yeah.
Like the heroes are just trying to stop him.
Yes.
But he's the impetus. He's like the driving factor, and he's the one who has an arc.
Yes. So one of the things I love about this movie, and I saw some discussion about it on Twitter after because I was outwardly looking for it to the point where I was like typing in the search bar terms and reading random people's tweets. The thing I like about this movie is that it's so rare that you see a movie that is the hero's journey focused on the villain, where he stays the villain, and like that's what makes this a huge event for me. Because a lot of times the villain will quote unquote win, or he will become an anti-hero where he's like doing something heroic for altruistic means or whatever, and it just seems to line up with what you would consider classically good or whatever. Yeah. And like that's not what I'm talking about here. He is very much, this is like his bad guys are all the people we have been watching and like fell in love with, and he is overcoming all of their adversity this whole time for his own like what he wants to do. And anybody who like I've talked to knows that my favorite type of villain is a villain who thinks he's doing the right thing, and this is like Thanos in this so hardcore, which is so different from the comics, and I'm so happy that they went with something that makes a little more sense. It's a little easier maybe to convey and like side with, because in the comics it's really stupid. He's basically courting a girl that doesn't like him, who just so happens to be the Grim Reaper. Like it's so fucking
yeah,
stupid.
Pretty much.
It's so fucking stupid. In this, it's more of a political thing of like, he is a radical, like he's basically an activist that saw his world die after like he thought he could have saved the world or whatever, and then when they didn't listen to him and called him crazy and all that, they all died, and now he's just like trying to be like, this is the best for like, dude, I know what's happening. I have to save everybody by killing off all of you, or half of you. Essentially, or whatever. And I think that's super dope. That's the whole thing I really, really like about this movie, and the fact that he actually just like ends off winning, and it ends off with him just like looking at the sunset, just like, I did it. It's so good. It's especially since like, you know, people were like, what the fuck, or whatever. That's the best part for me.
Yeah. Thanos is he's content.
So,
and a little sad, but you know, he did it.
So
he went out to do a thing and he did it.
His driving factors obviously are, he knows what happens when something gets too big for like to be sustainable. That's what he saw happen on his homeworld of Titan, and he's trying to prevent that for the rest of the galaxy essentially. But he's also a psychopath. And
yes, totally.
And I think
Wants
It's
to
easy
murder lots of people. He goes to a planet and lines up the population on two sides and then has half of them gunned down. This is not a good guy.
No, he's a psychopath for sure. Whether or not like he means well, he's doing it by the worst means necessary, and like that's what what makes a good villain.
Yeah, and there's all the Nebula torturing he does. It's just like
Yeah.
he's fucked up.
Sure, he's fucked up, but like he's also like doing what he feels like he has to. Like I don't know, it's just
Yes.
it's weird. It's just like if you were a psychopath or your moral compass as a human was off, you probably could see yourself siding with him. You'd be wrong because you're insane if you're siding with him. But
he's principled. He has specific you can understand his motivations because he has specific ones.
yeah,
Like he's not like I want to destroy the world because that'd be fun.
right. Or like unlimited power. Well, he wants unlimited power, but for his means of saving people.
Yes, he has an end goal.
To the point,
And in the original story, he had an end goal, but it was he liked a girl.
it's so dumb. I really like, but in that, I think it was less important. Really, like this movie is not for comic fans primarily. It's for people to go see a movie, right? You can't have something that dumb. You just can't. Because, like, I would have loved
the way they
this
streamlined
idea,
it.
but you can't do it. Come on.
Yeah, no. I think it was smart of them to take out Lady Death. I think it was smart of them to take out Adam Warlock.
Well, we don't know for sure.
Yeah. Up to this point,
We're hopeful.
I'm glad they haven't. Yeah, I think it was smart of them to not spend a lot of time establishing those characters. Let's say
Totally. Especially they play one role. Like Lady Death's one role is to like in this storyline, I should say, is specifically to be pined for and to like start the actions going on, and you could like do anything with that.
It's also because in the comic, Thanos is a minion who then elevates himself, whereas in the movies they establish Thanos as the big bad.
Yeah,
and then he has to have his motivation has to come from himself because he's not like he's not like sneaking around and plotting to get his, like the way Thanos gets the gems is like sneaking and conniving and like tricking people basically.
Right.
It's much more like he like outsmarts everyone he gets the gems from. Also, a good change is he gets the gems from the Avengers instead of these random space dudes who happen to have them.
Sure.
Which is how the original story works.
Yeah, no, everything that they've adapted has been adapted for the idea of there's going to be an audience here. They're going to be here for their attention span is between 5 minutes to hopefully an hour if we can do well. We need to keep it going this whole time.
And that's also just like movie adaptations are always about shortcutting. Like how can we take these two characters and make them one character? Like that's classic movie adaptations. So it all makes sense as things to do when you're changing that story for a movie. Yeah. And even in the comics, like later stories that use Thanos as a villain, they use him as the big bad now. Like that's how he's used.
Right. You know, it's kind of a weird like dichotomy you got there, because you're right, with the movies it is about streamlining it and making it as like splashy as you can. In comics it's the exact opposite. You gotta slow that shit down and sell 100 issues if you can. You gotta keep them going. You gotta keep them buying every month.
You gotta have all those tie-in issues, man. It's the tie-in issues.
Yes. So I really like what the Marvel Cinematic Universe has done in the tie-in movies that are streamlined. It's actually kind of the best of both worlds. But yeah. Anyways, the long and the short of it is you can't do what they did in the comics. You just can't. As much as we would all love to see the personification of death as a lady that wears a hood that this big purple dude wants to bang.
And sometimes she has a lady face, and sometimes she's a skeleton.
So fucking stupid. Like, it's so dumb. It would have been hilarious, but come on, we can't do that.
I mean, that the Infinity Gauntlet comic also starts with Thanos having built the words God into stone while he's talking to the devil, because he's talking to Mephisto. It's just like having a chat.
Yeah, the comic books are stupid, basically. They're very stupid.
It's also a much simpler story in terms of how the Avengers are involved, in that he just wins without them even knowing about it, and then they go to stop him.
Right.
Like, they only try to fight him after he's already killed half the universe.
Yeah. No, yeah.
Like, they don't even realize he's after the stones.
And I was kind of wondering which way they would go about it years ago after the Avengers happened, and they kind of like teased that Thanos is there in the background. I was wondering if like it would be kind of the same thing where he's kind of pulling off little things in the background that are happening at all times through all of these movies, or if he's going to just straight up be like, I'm coming out, I'm doing this shit. And I'm kind of glad they went with the I'm doing this shit route, because that's just like much more interesting as a movie where the big bad is actually interacting with the people you've come to like fall in love with over 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm really glad they didn't
Like,
just keep him in the shadows all the time.
Yeah, and like the thing, you have to make him the main character when you do that. Like that was the thing I knew going into this movie. It's like Thanos has to be the focus of this story, or it's not going to work.
Did you know that, or did you hope it? Because
that's what I felt.
Okay,
that's what I felt. What I felt was Thanos needs to be the story of the story for it to work. It probably won't work if he's not the like main character, and then he was the main character, so I didn't have to worry about whether it would have worked if he wasn't, because they agreed about the way I thought they should tell the story, basically.
Okay, I did not get the impression that this would be done properly necessarily. So I was a little worried, just straight up.
That's fair.
I agree with you. The only way you do this properly with like the amount of respect and dumbness it deserves is that Thanos is like the focus, but I bet they don't do it. I was super I thought this would be the biggest Hollywood thing where they're going to fit in, like I knew another Avengers movie was coming, but I thought they were going to fit in a resolution, which I was just like thinking they're not going to let Thanos win on screen. That's fucking career suicide for Hollywood movies. And they did, and I was ecstatic. Like, I thought for sure, up until the last minute where he gets it, I was just like, oh, like, this is where they won, right? Wait, they didn't win. Oh my God. Yeah.
Now, there was stuff in the movie where it's like, there's not enough time for them for him to not just win and then the movie ends.
Mm-hmm.
It's like there were enough tidbits along as the movie went along that I got a sense of the point of the story where we're gonna end. But they did a good job of announcing that these were gonna be two movies, saying that they were filmed at the same time, and then just saying, but it's not one story. It's not just one movie. It's It's like, it's like, it's kind of just like, but you did end like in the middle of a thing with the villain winning, so fucking good job on that.
No, totally.
I like that they ended it more as the villain wins than to be continued next time. Like,
totally.
That's like the thing, like the flavor of it that I really like, in terms of it being a movie that's obviously has a sequel because they filmed the other one already.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Of just like, we're just gonna let this lie, and you all know there's going to be another one. You're all hype for the next one. It's fine. We don't need to do any
Totally.
other work.
The way you
Like,
do
I really like the big thing about this ending is just how hype it gets you to see how much you want to see
the next
thing.
Yeah. No, totally. The way they do this movie wrong is after he gets the full gauntlet, he disappears and the credits roll. You need to see the people start disappearing from existence. You need to see him like bathe in his reward of like success at the end for a second. You need the movie to acknowledge that you lost as the viewer. Like, you were on their side. Guess what, bitch? You all lost. He won. Like, you totally need that.
Succeed.
Yeah, it's super important, and that's kind of more than any. Like, I thought for sure that they were gonna do a Hollywood ending where they win of some way, even if it's just the moral battle somehow, and it's a to be continued.
Yeah.
But
but no, Spider-Man died. You lost.
But if like nothing else, I really thought that they would do a to be continued. I did not think they would actually show him win on screen. There's no way in my mind going into this that they would have done that.
The thing I really am impressed by is like the after credits scene that they just double down mostly.
Yeah.
With Nick Fury and then tease a character like nobody's heard of.
But like, this is the thing, is that like, you're right when you say nobody's heard of, and that is infuriating because it's not a not well-known character. I mean, whatever. It's not like Captain Marvel is a huge character.
Yeah.
But I would not say, I don't know, I wouldn't say she's unknown.
No, she was ahead. She was like in the first trailer for the last Marvel vs. Capcom game. For Marvel's Capcom 4.
Oh, really? I didn't know that, actually.
Yeah, because they couldn't use X-Men characters. So it's like her and
That's right.
Iron Man.
They kind of had to
Because they couldn't
dig
put
through the
Wolverine
barrel
there.
a bit. Yeah.
Well, also Marvel has been pushing her in the comics more.
Because of this,
recently.
do you think? Or do you think it's just...
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably. It's probably all like planned out.
Sure. Yeah, fair enough. I actually
It's
just
also
looked
just
up
'cause,
her
like,
first appearance.
Like, they needed they wanted a powerful female character to be a headliner character. Like, and she was a good one. She was a good candidate. Like, they picked her.
I would
to make
say
her more of a big deal. Because that character's gone through a lot of stuff over her long tenure in comics.
sure.
Like when they were just telling stories about her being an alcoholic. Those were the comics she got to be in.
I actually didn't know about that.
Yep. That was a thing. There's like a long period of time where like her stories were all about her being an alcoholic.
When the fuck was that? Was that like 70s or something? 80s?
No, early 2000s even.
What?
90s. Yeah.
Okay.
Miss Marvel.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
She didn't become Captain Marvel.
That's right.
They didn't do that till pretty recently.
Yeah, that's right. I just looked her up for her first appearance, 1967.
Yeah, she's been around for a long time. I think she's in one of the worst comics ever, where like an alien guy impregnated her.
Great. That's awesome.
Just like real rough 70s mistake comics.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyways.
Things that turned out bad. That time... Oh, right! She didn't just give birth to the guy. She gave birth to the guy's kid. She gave birth to the guy. He, like, impregnated her with himself.
That's ridiculous. When was this?
Sometimes comics are fucking awful.
What, like, what would you call it? Like, generation would this have been? What age of comics was this? Like, what
It was
year?
78.
Okay. Weird.
It was Chris Claremont's story.
Okay. awesome. Anyway,
I think, or maybe no, it might have been the 80s. It might have been the 80s where they actually went all the way with it.
weird.
They're like, yeah, I don't know. Like, it's a thing they've gone back to because they had to try to explain it, and then or do stuff like it. Just comics it's just a mess. So I'm not actually sure.
I wonder what they're going to do
Not 100%
for
sure.
the cinematic universe, because they're gonna have her have an interaction with an alien life form, obviously, right? To like get her powers, or do you think they're just gonna be like, no, she got it from an Infinity Stone dust or something that Shield had laying around? Like, I don't know what they're going to do, but
Like apparently it's gonna have to do with like the same place that Ant-Man's powers have to do with of like the microverse or whatever.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I think they're gonna
okay.
use that as more. Okay, yeah, I think it was that same like 78, but there were like sequential story comics maybe written by different people.
Mm-hmm.
There might have been multiple writers at fault. It might be one of those like people writing half a story and then someone picking it up and not thinking about it all the way through.
Yeah.
Bad comics.
I always get this stupid shit stuck in, or like mixed up in my head, because I always think of Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm talking about? Like Captain Marvel, Marvel. Dude.
Yeah.
I get them mixed up in my head of like who's who. It's so bad.
Well, it's also that there's also a DC Captain Marvel.
Yeah, the thing is I don't I never got into that series at all. Like,
Yeah.
so I can't parse in my head who is who. I don't even remember her name. I'm going to actually quickly look it up.
Carol Danvers.
Carol Danvers, yeah. That's right. So, yeah, but the thing is that even not knowing like very much at all about Captain Marvel or Miss Marvel or whatever you want to call her, like I knew she existed and I know basics about her, but maybe that's just from like growing up and like reading stuff that not that she's been in necessarily, but like cameo appearances happen every now and then and all that sort of thing. So yeah, I don't know. I just found it funny that like that ending with Samuel L. Jackson disappearing and then that appearing on the like little phone screen or whatever. I remember somebody was like, "What the fuck is in the theater?" And I was just like, "Yeah, okay, that's about what I would probably expect the reaction to be." I unfortunately had not a great like a great showing because it was super late at night. It was like at it started almost at 11 o'clock at night, so like a lot of people weren't there or they had seen earlier ones that weekend.
Yeah.
Which is kind of unfortunate, but yeah, I don't know. Okay, I think. Okay, right. I wanted to play not a game, more like a thought experiment with you here.
All right.
So this movie is big. It's getting people talking. It's got hype. We're gonna imagine a person right now who hasn't seen any of these movies and barely knows anything about any of the heroes at all. They've heard of Spider-Man before. They may have seen a Batman movie, and like they've heard of Superman, but like they probably don't know any of the Avengers necessarily, right? They want to see this movie, and they want to try to get as much emotional attachment to anything going on in it as possible, but they only are going to watch 3 to 5 movies to lead up to it. What are the standout choices of the Marvel Cinematic Universe that they should be watching, do you think, to get the most out of
For
this?
emotional attachment for this movie.
Or like any like they have to learn who these people are, get some idea of their characteristics and what they do, and like maybe what some of their exploits were before. So I wanted to start with 5, and then I wanted to go down to 3, and then if somebody can only watch one movie before this to prepare for it. So let's start with 5. I think you throw Iron Man 1 in there.
Yes.
I think Iron Man 1's in there.
Yeah.
I don't think you need Captain America, the first Avenger. I don't think you need his origin.
Nope.
I think you do need a Thor one, though. And I don't know which one. Probably Ragnarok. Honestly.
Yeah.
Just because of the lead up, and it gives you Hulk and Thor and Loki doing stuff.
Yeah. I would say first Avengers.
Absolutely. Definitely agree. So Iron Man, first Avengers, for sure.
I would say skip Avengers 2, because even though there's like stuff in there that's important, it's about the characters who suck, so it doesn't matter.
I think you need Civil War.
Yeah, Civil War is the one.
Yeah. Civil War is the Captain America one for sure, at least.
Yeah, Civil War, and you probably need Guardians. You need some context.
You need Guardians. You're right.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Okay. So now if we were to pare it down to 3, I think Avengers. Marvel's The Avengers 1.
I think you need Civil War.
I think you need Civil War as well.
Because that's where you get Spider-Man too.
Yeah. No, I think you're right.
And Homecoming was borderline on that list for me for 5, so I only left it off because you get him in Civil War.
Annoyingly enough, I think you need Guardians. I think...
Yeah, there's just too many characters in that.
Yeah.
That matter.
You miss out on too many of them if you don't watch it.
Yeah.
If you're going to watch one, The Avengers 1, and then this, I think you're doing yourself a huge disfavor. It's only watching one if you know nothing about any of them, but I think that's the one.
I might say Civil War, even then. If you're only watching one.
Maybe.
That's hard, though.
I don't know, man.
If you're only watching one of these before going into this, like, man. That's rough.
I think you still do Marvel's The Avengers. Because that, at the very end, is where you see Thanos as well, to tie it. I don't know, man. It's hard.
Yeah.
So, at the very minimum, I think we can both agree you need Avengers, Guardians 1, and Civil War, though, to really, like, actually get something out of it.
Yeah.
And then anything else you would want to add on top of that is kind of gravy, I think, after that. I mean, if you were really going into it, the ones you need, I would say, are Iron Man, probably Thor 2. I don't like Thor 1 very much. Maybe Thor 3.
Thor 1 is super skippable. I don't think you need Thor 2.
I don't know. Thor 3, I don't... The thing is I don't necessarily think you need Thor 3 at all, except for the connection to the beginning of the movie.
No, if you're just talking about need, I think Thor 3 is also...
completely skippable.
Also skippable.
I think you need Iron Man, for sure. I think Sorry, this is not like with any limitations. This is the least you need to really be fully invested. I think you need Iron Man, Captain America, the First Avenger, the Avengers, obviously. You need Guardians still. You need Civil War. And you should watch Homecoming, just in general, because it's good.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, you don't really need a whole lot to really get into it, because you don't need Ant-Man.
You don't.
You don't need any of the sequels, essentially. Except for Civil War. Civil War is so important. It's ridiculous.
Civil War, yeah.
I don't even think that movie's that great.
I mean, it's the movie Avengers 2 should have been.
It is. You're right. Age of Ultron should have been Captain America. Captain America, Age of Ultron. They're fixed. Skip it.
Look,
I really feel like I've done myself a disservice not seeing Black Panther, but I don't think you need it because he's not in it that much.
yeah, I mean, Wakanda is a cool place with super high technology. You don't really need to know that much more. They're in a field, basically. Like, it's not that complicated in the movie.
But like,
you will know who some incidental characters are more in depth, but
I've never felt like I needed Doctor Strange or Guardians 2, really. Like, out of the three that I'm missing, Black Panther is the one that I feel bad about. So, take that as you will, I suppose.
Guardians 2, again, it has a lot of Nebula stuff. It's got other. It's dumb in its own way.
But just kind of knowing how this might go, I knew Nebula would be more important than you might think from the first time you see her in these movies.
Like your Marvel movies, you know who they gotta have? Nebula.
Yeah. Let's move into thoughts of the future, predictions, all that sort of stuff. Because Nebula's gonna be the one to steal the gauntlet. 100%. I'm calling it.
Yeah. That's a turning point in that next movie is Nebula needs to get it. Yeah. Just because why do you have spent so much time on fucking Nebula?
Yeah.
The thing she does in comics is gets the Infinity Gauntlet from Thanos.
And that's what she's going to do
Thanos,
here. 100%.
Thanos loses it.
I'm calling it. This is the one thing that carries over completely.
Yeah. Because that's the character they've bothered to spend a lot of time establishing. She's going to be important.
Yeah.
For sure.
I think you were right when you were talking about how they haven't spent any time with Adam Warlock or Warlock at all, or even mentioning him. So I think they're going to overlook his whole role of being the dude to fix everything, basically. And I think they're probably just going to pass that off to maybe Captain Marvel, or like maybe that's like one of the last things like Captain America does before he bites it or something. I don't know. They could just pass it off to someone.
Yep. That's sounds like what I think they're going to do.
If I were to guess, I would think they would do it with Captain Marvel. I think they would want to give the new blood a big reason, especially with how the like political and social landscape is, getting like a super strong female lead that does like a super big thing after really fucking it up with their female characters for years now.
Yeah.
I think would just politically, like from a social justice angle, I think they would do it just based on that.
That's another thing I will say that is nice about Black Panther is that it has multiple female characters who get to do stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, oh wow, there are like 3 female characters in here and I'll get to like do things at different points in this movie.
Because
crazy.
Black Widow is useless. She's absolutely useless.
Yeah, they never figured out anything to do with her.
No, they never did. Thor's girl that I can't remember the name of now. She was like the smart scientist, but she was useless.
Yes, she was a romantic interest character and nothing else.
Yeah.
I liked Valkyrie in Ragnarok, but she did not show up in this movie.
It's such a bummer. Yeah, she was kind of cool actually. I liked her too.
Yeah.
Pepper Potts is a badass, I will say,
You're not wrong.
but
She doesn't get to do stuff often
She
enough,
doesn't
but when
get to
she
do
did
stuff.
stuff in Iron Man 3, it was great.
yeah. And she's the only
Like the best
person
part of
that
Iron Man
Tony
3.
Stark will listen to.
It's true.
So like she's actually
Needs life
super important.
balance.
She's actually the most powerful of all of them because that asshole will actually listen.
Not wrong.
But like, yeah, that's why I'm kind of assuming they're gonna go that route. I could totally see like either Tony Stark doing or Iron Man doing something to like before he dies or as he's dying to fix things, and like that's what kills him, or of course Captain America, the selfless act sort of thing, because he's the type of person, I think, as you put it, to like be able to like wield the power but not want it, so that he deserves it essentially.
Yeah, he literally does that in the comic books.
Yeah.
He gets the cosmic cube and is like, it's like you could make the world into your perfect vision, make it anything you want, and then he's just like, nope, break that thing.
Hail Hydra. That's a different thing, but
That is a different story.
yeah, but it's a meme. That's why I had to say it.
It is a meme.
It's a pretty good one.
Yeah.
That is such a weirdly like specifically ludicrous meme that like, oh my god. So when that became a thing and people were like putting hail whatever,
Lost their minds.
it was so good. Oh my god. There's so many layers to that stupid meme, and it was so good. Because a lot of times it would be like, because it's about like being treacherous, right, of some sort. So
Yeah.
it was super wide open for jokes, and I loved it. I loved Twitter for
Yeah.
that weekend. Then it got really shitty, like all memes do, and then I hated Twitter for that month. What
Nice.
else do we have to talk about here? I think that kind of does it. The next movie, like, I guess the biggest problem I had is that Ant-Man has nothing to do here. Like, he's not here because
Yeah,
they're doing
he's
his
just
own
not in
thing.
this movie because his movie is next.
Yeah, his movie is in a couple months from now, and that's where they're going to introduce the Wasp. And
Yeah.
that is super cool. Who plays Wasp again? Can't remember her name. Evangeline Lilly. All right.
Yes.
So I always get her mixed up. There's she is in Lost, and there is the girl in House 13. I get them mixed up in my head all the fucking time.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Anyway, ooh, she's actually from Fort Saskatchewan, Alberta. Weird. I didn't know she was from so close. That's super odd. Anyway, sorry, I got thrown into a Wikipedia hole reading about Evangeline Lilly. So yeah.
And then Michelle Pfeiffer is original Janet Van Dyne, original Wasp, who they're gonna rescue theoretically.
Oh, I see. Interesting. I'm looking forward to that movie, though. I really liked Ant-Man quite a bit. So
Yes.
I think
There's
that'll
that part
be
where
fun.
we made the Thomas the Tank Engine really big.
It's true.
It's pretty good.
I didn't know how I would feel about Hank Pym not being Ant-Man, but I kind of like, what's his name, McGee? Scott something?
Scott Lang.
Yeah, that guy. I kind of enjoyed him.
Yeah.
Also, you kind of
Fun.
get Hank Pym a little bit, so it's okay.
Yes.
It's okay.
Look, Hank Pym is kind of one of those. I don't know. I mean, he's a problematic character because there was a story where he beat his wife.
Ooh, yeah. I mean, it was a different era.
They've kind of had to. They've had to deal with that baggage for the rest of that character's existence. It's just been like a thing hanging over that character. So,
fair enough.
I understood why they went with a different Ant-Man.
Sure. Yeah, fair enough.
But I like the way they did it, where Hank Pym was Ant-Man. It's just it was, and I like the legacy hero stuff. I like that idea. So
I am super excited to see the next Avengers film, and was super excited as soon as I was done watching Infinity War to go online to see when it was coming out and realize it was just a year away. That was super dope. Because I've, for some reason, got in my mind that it was like 2 to 3. It's going to take forever or something. It's like, no, just a year. No big deal. So I'm super stoked about that. I'm trying to think, so we're going to get the original Avengers to all hang out and do their thing and probably do this, selfless sacrifice sort of thing to take down Thanos once and for all with the help of Nebula. They're going to basically make the wish of everything that was destroyed by this whole thing be restored to the way it was. So
maybe
I think so.
They'll definitely bring back most people. It could be a case where how they do it, they can finagle it to some people don't come back. Could happen. That's possible. Rather than just the blanket everyone comes back.
See, I'm thinking they're going to do the blanket everyone comes back, and then the final fight's going to happen, and that's where death is going to happen.
That also could be, yeah. That also makes sense.
I don't know. Either way, we'll see.
I feel like there will be a point, though, somewhere in the movie, where, a handful of characters get brought back.
Yeah.
Just like where Spider-Man gets brought back, so he's in the movie a little bit more, just as a thing. Because there is a part in the comic where a handful of characters get brought back before Endgame. Basically, it's used as a weapon. Basically, by I think Nebula just brings back a bunch of people to fight Thanos or whatever. I think.
Gotcha.
Something like that.
Yeah. I could see it. Sure. Where we go from here, obviously, it's been well known that some of the Avengers are getting sick of doing this stuff. They're ready to retire their roles.
Yeah. Chris Evans, I think, is actually just sick of being in movies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's totally fair.
I think he just wants to act on stage or direct. From what I understand.
Totally fair. He's been in a lot, so that's fair enough.
Yeah, he was in Snowpiercer.
He was in Snowpiercer, the best Captain America movie ever made.
Yeah, he ate bugs.
He did.
And babies.
And Robert Downey Jr., I think, has been done for a while. He's ready, I think, as well, to hang it all up.
I mean, I know he's super done. I could still see him his character not dying because they can bring him in for a scene.
Yeah.
Forever.
I could see him either being a character that gives them advice at some point in a future movie, or they visit to say hi or does something.
Yeah.
Maybe even if he wants a little bigger role, becomes a villain himself by doing something stupid the way he did Ultron. Create Ultron, basically. They they can always use a super smart asshole as a foil to the good-hearted people. So they could always use him for something, even just some smart ass quips about what's going on. So yeah. I could see it for sure. I kind of want him to die. I would like it, but I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't. But I think Cap.
I feel like he's gonna be done as Iron Man or something, but maybe not dead.
Sure. I could see him being like a background character making stuff for like Shield or
Making
New
his
Avengers
cameos
or whatever.
in Spider-Man movies,
Yeah.
so they do better in China.
Being I could see
Getting
him,
those paychecks to be in like one scene.
I could see him being Q for the Avengers essentially going forward. Just kind of like showing up for a scene where he like makes some funny remarks and shows them some like new weaponry he's been working on. I could see it. Cap has to die. He has to go out in a blaze of glory and give the people something to like believe in, basically.
That inspiring moment.
Yeah. That's really the only reason why you have somebody that's called Captain America. That's why you have him. Because there's no longer a real war in real life where you need propaganda to get people to join the army for their country. So if that's not going on, the reason you have Captain America is to say something inspirational and make you feel good at the end. That's why. So I don't know what he's going to do, but I'm pretty sure that's going to happen. I think the others will probably... I don't think the Avengers continues. Do you? Like, as a new Avengers? I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced that the, like, new age guys continue on, essentially. It seems weird to me.
I mean, I could see an Avengers movie headlined by like Captain Marvel or something, and Black Panther.
Like a new
can still see
Avengers
that.
or whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe. I think, like, I guess I could see it. I don't
another
want it
Avengers movie.
necessarily. I kind of just want... Basically, the
that's
thing
fair.
I want here, if I'm going to be completely honest, is the big event things are done for now, and all these movies that are coming out from in the future, they're just new episodes, man. They're new issues. It's comic day anytime these... It's a new comic day when these fucking movies come out, and I'm going to go see Spider-Man, like, take on a new villain every time there's a Spider-Man movie. They're not working towards a big thing anymore. I'm totally okay with that. We had 10 years of this build-up. I'm totally okay just enjoying the characters that are left doing their own thing in their own comic movies from now on. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. I don't know.
I like both things. So
Sure.
I agree. Like they should take some time before diving back into building something up. But like, after like a couple years of just doing regular stuff, they probably would start building up again slowly.
Yeah, maybe.
That's fine.
What do you think happens with Thor?
I mean,
Because, like, Asgard's dead. He's,
Asgard's very dead.
like, he is a lone god. He is king of nothing. I think he might die as well.
He might die. That's true.
I'm not sure
Someone
how.
else could become Thor.
You know what?
Where's my Beta Ray Bill movie, though? Come on. Give me Beta Ray Bill. Give me Horse Thor.
He might be the one to wield the power. I could see that.
Or they could go with a girl Thor, like they did in comics or something. Just someone else getting his hammer after he dies. It could totally happen.
Yeah. Without Asgard and
But I don't know
the
what else. Like, what
Pantheon,
else does Chris Hemsworth have going on? Really? Come on.
I don't know. He's like classically handsome enough to do
Terrible,
anything.
like Afghanistan movie about horses.
I think he should just stop acting and like be a model or something. That's kind of what he's not. I don't think he's a great actor by any means. So
He's good at being Thor. That's like he's good at being Thor. He was good in Cabin in the Woods.
yeah, no, you're right. Man, that movie's
He's playing
good.
a caricature. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know what he's going to do.
Yeah.
I think he might be the one to wield the power and maybe like them write him off as, yeah, he's just guarding it in space for eternity. I could see it.
Sitting on his... That is the image of Thor in Asgard with everyone else gone, being an old man, is a thing in comics.
I could see it. Sure, why not? Totally. Who else is from... What happens to Bruce Banner? It would be kind of cool if he could just relax for a while. Like, he could just be human again for maybe the rest of his existence, rather than, Bruce become Banner a monster.
Can never exist. They can just make someone else Bruce Banner. It's fine.
I mean, they already did it once.
They've done it multiple times.
Oh, I mean, since the cinematic universe officially started.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I kind of liked, what's his name, too?
Ed Norton?
Yeah.
Yeah, that movie's fine.
It's kind of unmemorable, but it's fine.
Yeah. It's kind of like comic book movie of that era.
Totally. Yeah, I totally agree. Obviously, Guardians have another thing coming out. I don't remember when. I'm sure I could... Oh, there's no planned date. It just says 2020. Okay. Guardians have another thing coming out, so obviously they're doing their own thing. I bet you could probably get Doctor Strange in something for the future, but whether or not it would do any sales at all, I don't know. I haven't heard many people talk highly of Doctor Strange. Is the thing. So
I've heard a lot of people. And to my chagrin, a lot of people really like that movie.
Really interesting. Yeah. Most people I know either haven't seen it or didn't care about it at all, and that's kind of where I'm at with it too. So, Black Panther is going to have more adventures, of course.
Okay, well, honestly, the big thing with the Marvel Cinematic Universe is Disney owns Fox now, so all the X-Men stuff.
You're right.
It's possible for them to start working that stuff in.
You're right. I think that's where you start getting the Spider-Man crossover, because Spider-Man and X-Men go together so well. Mutants and all that, that would be real cool.
That's actually a thing I have for that next movie, is if they're going to tease any X-Men stuff in it, because I'm sure when they were writing the script, as soon as it was a possibility that they could have access to X-Men stuff, they just wrote different versions of the script with characters inserted, and then it could be an X-Men character, or it could just be someone we own the rights to, because that's what they did with Spider-Man in Civil War.
Right.
They had a different version of that script with just a different character.
Right.
In that spot.
Yeah, that's
as
fair.
Tony's secret weapon.
Yeah.
Or no, there could be nothing, and they could do it later.
I think we'll see more Ant-Man.
We'll definitely see more Ant-Man.
I hope we'll see more than one
movie.
I hope we'll see more than one Captain Marvel thing. Can you imagine?
Yeah. I mean, I hope the Captain Marvel movie is good, frankly. I don't know that it's going to be good. I assume it's going to be good. I'm excited to see it. I hope it's good.
Oh my god. Yeah, it's probably not going to be very good. Very good, I mean. I'm sure it'll be fine. I'm trying to think of, the last movie that I would say was, very good. Not seeing Black Panther, Homecoming is the best Marvel movie, I think, that exists.
Yeah.
Other than that, Guardians of the Galaxy 1? In 2014? That being said, I haven't seen Black Panther.
Or Guardians 2.
Yeah. I really don't care about Guardians 2.
Fair enough.
I don't know. I'm sure it's probably fine.
I think it's fine.
Sure.
It has its pluses and minuses.
Yeah.
I think it's fine.
And I mean, it could be worse. It could be the Winter Soldier. Fuck, I hate Bucky. The thing is that I actually really like Winter Soldier until the Bucky stuff. Like, I think the mood
Gotcha.
and the setting and stuff it does with this like weird stranger and all that, I think that's all real good until it turns out to be the guy that is totally dead. We swear that they say over and over in the first Captain America movie. They like make it such a point that Bucky died. To the point where it's like,
Yeah,
even if you
that's
don't
like-
know, you have to know. Right?
It's such a dumb like movie adapting comics thing where like in comics this was a big deal that Bucky came back because he'd been one of the characters that was never came back.
Yeah.
He was dead for decades. But when you make those into do that as your second Captain America movie, it doesn't have that impact.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't that magic is not there. It's like, oh yeah, of course. Duh.
I would like them to have any excuse for Vision to exist again. But if they want to keep him dead, I don't think I'm sad about it either.
I could do without Vision.
I kind of just don't care either way.
This is boring.
But if he's going to exist, he has to do something, I think is what I'm getting at. He has to be given a reason to exist. I'm sorry.
Him and Scarlet Witch's romance makes them both less interesting.
Agreed. The fact that Scarlet Witch isn't going insane is a problem for her character. She kind of like, basically, if they're going to do a thing with Scarlet Witch where she's like any focus ever, she has to kind of be like maybe the unwilling villain or something. Or like, basically, I hate her where she is right now, where she's kind of just like this completely declawed kitten where she has so much potential and power, but she's like in love with a machine and is like scared to use her power at all times. I don't know. I fucking hate what they're doing with her. She needs to do something. Even if it, like, I don't care if she's a villain or a good dude or whatever.
I don't want them to do the thing where she goes insane because that story is terrible. It's a bad story.
I mean, she needs to do
work.
she needs to not be able to control her power or something. Because, fuck.
No, you just let her control her power and have her do awesome stuff.
But she doesn't. This is what I'm saying. She needs to do anything. She needs to do anything. I don't care what anymore. Let's end off with just some highlights about stuff we loved about this movie. And I'm going to start because I'm selfish. I love that Thanos throws a moon at the group that he's fighting.
So good.
It's really fucking good.
It's like, yeah.
That's comic book
now, boys.
Yeah, that's Infinity Gauntlet comic bullshit right there. Oh my god, it's so good.
That's everything I ever wanted from a comic book movie.
Yeah.
Someone throwing a moon.
Like, kind of. Yeah.
I love, like, it's a small detail. I like Spider-Man, like, saving everyone after Thanos throws the moon. He's just, like, catching everyone. Just like, yeah, Spider-Man cares about people.
Moving them out of the way and stuff. Yeah. Yeah.
He's, like, webbing everyone.
You're right. That is really good. Thor standing in front of a star is
oh god
so good.
Just like, I'm fucking up. He's like, yo, you'll die. No, it doesn't matter. I'm doing it.
It's so good.
Like, no hesitation.
Groot's one part of like becoming the handle for the axe is really good. Like, that's just well thought out use of him. And Thor becoming Thor from all of that, like the god of thunder, is
when he opens the Bifrost on Wakanda, it's a pier. It's like, yeah, fucking Thor's here.
It's so fucking good.
Whip some fucking ass.
Yeah. I like that they, like I said at the very beginning, I'm just coming back to it again. I like that they dethroned Hulk as like the backup plan, basically, the powerful dude. Hulk had a full movie kind of recently with Ragnarok to like really be part of the show, like in a big way.
Yeah.
It was time he took a step back for
I mean,
a
yeah,
while.
and he got the big defeat the villain moment in the first Avengers movie. Like,
Yeah. He's had his moments.
you know Hulk is fucking tough.
Totally.
Puny god, indeed.
Yeah, exactly. Just a callback to Ragnarok.
Also,
I
I'm
really
sure
like
he's
when
gonna
he
get
does
a
that to
moment in the
Thor
next movie.
and Loki cheers. He's like,
Yeah.
see how it feels? I really
good.
like that part a lot.
Yeah, also I'm sure Hulk will get his moment in the next movie.
I like Thor's interaction with Rocket. Just like, I know I'm repeating some stuff because it made sense to
Yeah.
talk about it when we were talking about it, but like these are now my list of favorite things going on that happened. I really like his
Fuck.
interactions with everybody. He's good as that character. Just is.
Yeah.
Also Spider-Man's plan to kill what's his face? That's
Ebony
yeah.
Maw.
Ebenezer Maw. Yeah. Ebenezer Maw. I just like the whole like, yeah, the kid's seen more movies. Just like shoots him out of the thing and he's instantly gone. Like there was no build up, there was no like reaction. He was just gone in an instant and it was so good. Trying to think of like, Doctor Strange's like use of like his powers all the time doing stuff is like, anytime he actually uses his powers and is being like a tricky little dude, pretty good.
Yeah. No, that's when the movie isn't about like his personality and him having a character arc. Like Doctor Strange is good at being just like a powerful wizard
Yeah,
doing stuff.
totally. Like we said, Drax being invisible, so good.
Oh my god, Drax being invisible.
I just
Eating so slowly.
I just thought of another part. I'm Groot. I am Steve Rogers. Captain America just being like introducing himself. That part's real good too. How earnest he is about it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Such good writing. Really really good witty comedy that
Yeah.
lightens the heavy mood but doesn't take away from it.
Yeah, no, they had the comic book banter. It's classic. I really like when the evil army is trying to force its way through the shield in Wakanda, and they're just fucking killing themselves.
Yeah.
Trying to force their way through. They're just so relentless.
Yeah. Just like a wave of dudes,
Yeah.
like consistently hitting, for sure. A real cool part, actually. Oh,
And it's not that they break the shield, it's that, oh shit, they're actually just gonna surround the shield and like a couple of them will get through and get division, so we need to open the shield and fight them.
yeah.
So that doesn't happen.
Yes.
Like, I like
really
that it's
smart.
not like the shield can't take it, and then it breaks. It's like, no, fuck, we have to open it. God damn it.
It was just like they literally zerged. They just threw
Yeah.
numbers at it's really really cool. I really like that the stars of the show from before didn't get a lot of screen time to do like ridiculous stuff. Like the fact that Captain America isn't in every shot for once in a movie he's in is super good to me. Because man, the MCU loves showing Captain America when he's around a lot. So like it was pretty dope that he was just part of the fight and not like the dude in every shot of the fight this time. Like it actually gave time to War Machine to do his bombing run. And I didn't know her name, but the like black chick from obviously Black Panther and Scarlett Johansson doing their little death dance while fighting and all that stuff. Like, I like that there was room made for everybody, and nobody, I don't feel like anybody really got the shaft except Vision, but Vision sucks, so I don't care.
Yeah, no, I was happy when Vision got his frontal lobe removed.
Yeah.
I was glad they brought him back to life just to die again.
Yeah.
So bad he needed to die twice.
Yeah. I really like Mantis. I just think she's adorable.
Mantis is pretty good.
Mantis is pretty good. And she plays a pretty important role in the plan that doesn't work, but still, she tried.
She tries?
She tries so hard. Yeah. Just the fact that they made the big event movie. Holy shit. We didn't even talk about Thanos killing his daughter to, like...
Oh, yeah, we forgot.
That's
about Thanos throwing Gamora off a cliff.
Yeah.
That's a good moment.
Thanos throws Gamora off a cliff.
It's just...
That moment's super important. Like...
Yeah.
Yeah. Not only for, like, the whole theme of sacrifice, but it's kind of, like, the part where it showcases that Thanos is not human, but, like, had a part of him that, like, had emotion and, like, attachment to something, and now that's gone. So now he's, like, actually scary. Like, this is a problem now.
He's very committed to his goal. He's willing to throw the person he loves the most off a cliff.
Yeah.
In order to achieve his ends.
Also, I've never really liked Gamora, so I kind of loved seeing her die. I really don't like that character. And I don't know why. It's not like she doesn't have important things to do in the movies or that she's like a bad character. I just don't like her. So, that's a personal win-win for me.
He just fucking throws her off a cliff.
Really far.
Falls.
Really far down. Yeah.
He sheds a tear.
He does. I really like Red Skull being the cursed wanderer on this planet nobody ever will go to. It's really good.
He seems okay with it, all things considered.
He's like, it's better than death, I guess. I get to chill. It's not a hard job. Pretty easy job. Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot to love about this movie.
That was real. That's like classic shortcutting of like they could have introduced some other weird space character, but what if it was just the ghost of Red Skull?
Yeah, who's a character we haven't seen for a while? How did he die? Oh, this totally makes sense then. Perfect.
Yep.
Yeah, that works. Yeah, I think that probably sums up our talk, though. Do you have anything more to add?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
They're good. Other good Thanos comics out there besides Infinity Gauntlet.
Mm-hmm.
They're better. There's a Thor story where Thor is fighting Thanos through space. That's real good. There's written by Dan Jurgens and illustrated by John Romita Jr.
Okay.
And John Romita Jr. is one of my favorite artists. That one's really good.
Mm-hmm.
There was a Mark Waid Kazar comic book where Thanos showed up. It was real good.
Okay.
It's like Thanos in the Savage Land versus the dude in the loincloth.
That sounds ridiculous. Oh, God. Ridiculous.
So the story where the Guardians of the Galaxy as they exist in the movies is from came out of like this story's Annihilation and then Annihilation Conquest.
Okay.
And then there was And in Annihilation, Drax actually kills Thanos.
Oh,
It's
really?
just one of the things that happens to happen. Yeah.
Huh.
But then there's a later story. I think the Thanos Imperative, I think is it's called, where they have to. There's a part where they have to resurrect Thanos because they need his help to stop this other universe that's the Cancerverse,
Okay.
where like life is just it's like growing out of control. I forget what it was, but it's a thing where like they need to kill this entire universe because it's just growing out of control. Something went wrong. I forget what it was that happened. But it's just funny because, like, it's just a fun, different use of Thanos where, like, the heroes have to work together with him because they literally need him to murder a universe.
That's a classic comic move there, too.
Classic comic move.
Yep. So,
Also, I would say the Thanos quest, which is it was like 2 prestige size issues, which is the story of him getting the Infinity Gauntlet, which is somehow way less read than the Infinity Gauntlet itself. Like, even like, the first thing I read was Thanos already had the Infinity Gauntlet, the first page of the story. But the story of him getting it is actually a pretty good comic.
like, the one you read is the one called Infinity Gauntlet, right? The Infinity Gauntlet?
Yeah, Infinity Gauntlet's, like, the one people know.
Right. Yeah.
Thanos Quest, like, takes place, like, right before that. Written by the same writer, Jim Starlin. And
Gotcha.
same artist, basically.
Gotcha.
But it was... And Thanos was, like, in Silver Surfer comics, sort of leading up to that event.
Right.
That's where he just brought back to life. Because he had died before. You know, it happens.
Sure. Of course.
But yeah, the Thanos Quest is a good read.
Cool. I will definitely have to check that out for sure. For anybody else, if you've been listening and you haven't seen the movie, I'm sorry and you're welcome, I guess, for saving you money, and I'm sorry you had to hear it from us instead of just seeing it happen. But I
assume they chose. I hope that like someone didn't force them to listen to this rather.
That
than
would be
watching
ridiculous. You should like kill that person. You should grab a gauntlet and choke them to death. That's too far.
You should throw them off a cliff.
You should throw them off a cliff, though, for sure. This might break my I don't go see a movie twice in theaters thing, mainly because like movies are expensive. I might go see this one again. There's just so much that happens. I'd kind of like to see it again on a big screen.
Yeah, no, like these Marvel movies are definitely. I think about going to see them a second time in screen more than I am like likely to go watch it again at home a second time. In general.
Oh, really? See, I watch them at home. Like I've seen the first
Yeah.
Avengers movie multiple times at home.
Well, I also mostly only watch movies in the theater these days.
yeah. Okay, fair enough.
It's just like I go out. When I want to see a movie, I go out. If I'm sitting at home, I'm just not ever in the mood to just watch a movie generally.
Okay, I could see that. Sure, that makes sense.
It's just a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This movie's really good.
It's a fun time.
And it's kind of weird that usually a lot of times people are like, the movie wasn't enough like the source material or like close enough to the source material when it's like an adaptation of some sort. And I think this, like, comic book fans can be real shitty sometimes with like that type of thing.
Totally.
I think
100%.
This is like the first time maybe ever, or at least in a while, that I think it's been a pretty big consensus about through a lot of the comic book fans where it's like, that was really impressive that they did it that way. Like, it's actually pretty good. And it's kind of the normies that are like, what the fuck? Like, they're the ones that are kind of thrown off by it.
Yeah. No, like after I saw the movie, the thing I really wanted to know was like normal people's reactions to this, like people who don't know like comic book events stuff, like
Right.
how they would react to this, because it's so weird as a movie.
Sure. Oh,
It's like
totally.
super normal as like a comic book event. This is what they are always, but like for as a movie, it's fucking weird
Totally. Yeah.
until it becomes the norm, like it does in comic books. Just every movie is this.
I really hope it doesn't, though. It's so special when it's done so rarely. Oh,
I mean, that was true in comics too.
I know. Well, something to look forward to and to hope against, I guess. So yeah,
Rage against the dying of the light
I'm not
by
100%
murdering half the universe.
I'm not 100% sure that I'll have a lot to say about the new Ant-Man when that comes out, but I do plan to see it, and maybe we can do another like recap chat like this about that when that comes out, if I do. But yeah, I think that's a podcast for right now, so we'll just call it there. Go see Infinity War if you have not yet, and if for some reason you don't know about all the characters, like I highly suggest you do a little bit of legwork and watch at least like one movie from each of them if you can, or at least the ones we mentioned earlier, I would say. And yeah, we'll talk to you next time, I guess.